All right, let's get right into it. We need to remember the vision, the single, unbroken line of logic. It starts with something that feels small, something tangible, automating a business. But it ends with something that sounds like science fiction, terraforming the entire Sahara Desert. This isn't just some fantasy. No, it's a sequence, a causal chain, and we're going to walk through every single link to remind ourselves how it all connects.
You know, this statement, it isn't a wish, it's the blueprint. It's a demand that we see the connection, the direct path from solving a simple, immediate business problem to resolving a massive, planetary-scale challenge. This is the whole framework, all right here in a single sentence.
And that is the question, isn't it? The one that has to be answered again and again. The answer, as we know, isn't in some giant, miraculous leap. It's in a series of deliberate, cascading steps. To truly understand the destination, you have to go back and understand the very first step. And that first step always begins with a real point of friction, a real-world pain.
Okay, let's dive into this first part. The entire vision, this whole grand idea, it's anchored right here in the tangible world. It starts with a costly, inefficient business problem that exists right now, today. This is the grounding point. This is where it all begins.
So here it is, the core problem we set out to solve. The old way of doing things is just a constant bleed of money and energy. You're paying for inconsistency. Think about it, almost $5,000 a month for a social media manager, over $150,000 a year for a sales rep. And what do you get? Variable results. The new way, our way, it isn't just a small improvement, it's a total paradigm shift. Agent-run workflows give you perfect consistency 24/7 for just a fraction of the cost. It's the solution to that economic drag.
Now this is so important to remember. This is a core principle of physics, of economics, of life. You don't solve problems by just applying brute force in a straight line. It never works. You solve them by understanding the existing currents, what people want, the incentives, the path of least resistance, and you align with them. The most efficient path is always a curve.
And boom, this is the proof. This number illustrates the power of that principle perfectly. This is not a guess, this is a real-world result from aligning with that more efficient, curved path. A 494% return on investment, a payback period of less than 3 months. This number is the validation. It proves the model works, and it provides the fuel for everything that comes next.
So the crucial point is, how do you take this validated model and build a self-sustaining engine from it? Well, it starts by structuring the solution into an offer that's so powerful, so perfectly aligned with the customer's paying, that it becomes basically irresistible.
This concept from Alex Hormozi is the absolute strategic core. Remember, we aren't just selling software. We are selling the definitive solution to a burning, painful problem. It's constructed to be completely incomparable, to remove all the risk from the customer, and to deliver just overwhelming value. This is how you escape the commodity trap. This is how you build real value.
And this is the tactical execution of that strategy, the offer ladder. You don't try to sell the entire vision all at once. Of course not. You meet the customer at their most immediate, screaming point of pain, that founder who is drowning in DMs, and you solve it. That's it. That builds trust. Then you ascend the ladder together, solving bigger and bigger problems, from lead gen to full revenue attribution. Each step funds the next. It's an elegant system.
Look, a great offer is totally useless if you don't have a system to connect it to customers. And we don't leave this to chance. It's a robust, multi-pronged engine built on proven acquisition channels: warm outreach, cold outreach, content, and paid ads. This is the practical, repeatable process for growth that ensures the entire system has the resources it needs to keep going.
Okay, let's see how this all builds. We've established a profitable, scalable business engine. Now we use the principles and, yes, the profits from that engine to go after a much larger problem space. We're moving beyond just business inefficiency to tackling societal inefficiency.
This is the philosophical upgrade. This is where the why gets bigger. Formal equality, giving everyone a hammer, is useless if some people need a saw. True substantive freedom comes from a system that actually understands and provides for all those different needs. The goal shifts from just making a business efficient to designing a system that efficiently meets real, diverse human needs.
And again, this isn't some abstract theory. The principle is already being proven out in the real world. The Accord project, for example, automates regulatory compliance for construction contracts. It's a system that can digest incredibly complex rules and apply them flawlessly. This is a micro-scale version of a macro-scale social protocol. It's a system that can manage complex agreements automatically.
And this brings us to the architectural diagram for that larger system, the Poly 186 tree. The metaphor is so precise. The value creators, they're the roots. P8 is the internal currency, the energy that flows through the system. The platform, CSAP, is like the vascular system, enforcing the rules and aligning all the incentives automatically. And the goal, the fruit of the tree, is the automated production and distribution of essential goods.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. What's the core technology required to run a system of this complexity? I mean, standard automation just isn't going to cut it. You need an operating system with a logic that is analogous to awareness itself.
This framework defines the properties you have to have. To coordinate a global system, it needs a vast capacity for information, the ability to be independent from outside control, and, this is the most critical part, its internal parts cannot be independent. They have to be deeply, deeply integrated. Consciousness in this model is simply the measure of a system's integrated information.
So how on earth do you structure that much information? Not in a flat file, not in a linear database. You need a structure like this, the Poincare disk, a representation from hyperbolic geometry. It lets you map an infinite amount of interconnected data while preserving the contextual relationships between every single point. It's basically a map for an entire universe of information.
And here's the cognitive architecture. On the left, you've got standard machine learning. Input, pattern recognition, output. Pretty basic. On the right is the concept from linguistics that makes all the difference. Surface structure versus deep structure. It's the ability to understand the intent behind the words, not just the words themselves. A system built to meet human needs has to be able to understand human intent. It's absolutely essential.
So let's pull it all together. We have the business engine, we have the societal protocol, and we have the deep technology. Now we connect it all back to the final objective. What does a system like this actually do on a planetary scale?
It creates a fundamental shift. Our current industrial system is centralized, it's brittle, and it is monumentally wasteful. It treats a resource like water as monodimensional. It's either clean enough to drink or it's sewage. That's it. The new, organic system is decentralized and multidimensional. It understands that water exists on a whole spectrum of quality and can be cascaded through dozens of uses, from drinking to washing to irrigation, before it ever needs final purification. It eliminates waste by understanding context. The name for this new operating model is Polyocracy, and the analogy is perfect. It's the human body. Trillions of cells coordinating flawlessly, without some central command. Each one operating on local information, but contributing to the health of the whole. This is about applying that biological wisdom to how society and the economy works.
This question isn't just a hypothetical. It's the logical output of the entire sequence we just walked through. When you build an economic system that can sense, understand, and provide for the foundational needs of everyone in it, water, food, energy, shelter, what is the inevitable result? What happens then?
And this is the result. This is the destination. A system with this level of coordinated intelligence and resource management, well, it doesn't see a desert as a wasteland. It sees it as an ecosystem just waiting to be optimized. Terraforming the Sahara stops being some sci-fi dream and becomes the next logical, achievable project on the roadmap. The clean line is complete. From a simple business pain all the way to planetary renewal.